Tell Me Lies is Hulu's latest offering about a toxic college love story. The shady romance, however, transcends the stages of life, chasing its takers like an apparition even after it has ended. The catch is it never ends. In June 2015, Lucy wakes up with her boyfriend, Max. It is a special day for Lucy as one of her college friends is getting married to her college sweetheart. Although Lucy says she will be okay, it has been 4 years, she takes a deep breath when she sees Stephen again. A flashback takes us 8 years back when Lucy was leaving home for college. Lucy meets her roommate, Macy, for the first time and receives a hug. They meet their next-door neighbors, Bree and Pippa, and the four girls instantly connect. Pippa introduces them to Wrigley. At the party, Lucy meets Diana, presumably a senior, who warns her to stay cautious with Wrigley. Stephen catches up to Lucy and is too straightforward and forthcoming for Lucy's comfort. It is here that we are introduced to Drew, Wrigley's younger brother. Lucy goes back to her room and stays the night when Macy asks her to come along. But Lucy is adamant and stays. In the morning, she notices that Lucy's bed is still undisturbed. A crying Bree breaks the news to Lucy and Pippa that Macy met with an accident last night. She was drunk and struck her car into a tree, killing her. This news mortifies Lucy and her entire group is disturbed. They go back to Lucy's room, from where they go to a vigil arranged for Macy. Stephen charms Lucy when they wake up together in the same bed with their clothes on. She finally gives in and agrees to go on a date with her, even confirming her interest by kissing him. He makes his way to his own dorm where Diana, from a couple of nights ago, is waiting outside his door. It turns out that the two were in a relationship and Diana broke up with Stephen a few weeks back, saying she has trust issues. Stephen gets a call from Wrigley asking him to come immediately. He reaches his house and he tells him that Drew has made a big mistake. Drew have something to do with Macy's death. Drew was on a beer run from a party he was attending the same night. While driving, a car jumped at him from nowhere. Both had to swerve to avoid colliding and Macy went right into a tree. But Drew did not stop to look inside and maybe call out for help. Stephen calmly asks all the right questions and dissuades Drew from going to the authorities or anyone else. He asks him to keep it among themselves and everyone will be okay. On the date, things go well. Stephen's charm is so infectious that Lucy only needs to be reeled in. After a love-making session, Lucy finds out that the hair tie Stephen gives her from under his bed isn't hers. He confesses that he wouldn't feel bad if Lucy slept with other guys. Lucy is confused and unclear about the idea. Bree and Lucy just about avoid arrest by police officers who make a sudden alcohol check at the bar they have gone to. That is where Lucy meets Max, the owner of the establishment, through his father. Drew gets a bit too drunk and falls off the stairs. Pippa comes along too and learns his secret about Macy when Wrigley confesses it to her. Max approaches Lucy and she says she is single and sleeps with him, acting on Stephen's advice and showing she is equal to his in terms of dating independence. We later see Stephen starts browsing the photos on his laptop of the girls he has been with. Soon enough, we see photos of Macy on the laptop, and in some pictures, she is barely in her underwear. Seeing her face, he gets a tear in his eyes, indicating they did have something special. Stephen lies about where he will stay for the night in the city. He says he will stay at Evan's parents' house, whereas he is staying at Diana's. Bree goes to the art class but is surprised to find Evan there. Although he does not look at her from the perspective of carnal pleasures, it just might show that he is interested in her. Stephen's interview starts well, but his natural charm gradually turns against him. He crosses a line with the female associate, even lying about visiting Europe to impress her. Unfortunately, he bombs the interview, taking away his chances of getting the internship, which would have been a big step in his dream of becoming an attorney. Stephen calls Lucy to the city and they make love at Diana's pad, Lucy having no idea about it. She sees the condoms once again in her shaving kit and confronts him about not going to parties with her. Stephen strikes back and slyly turns it against her. It is Christmas time and Lucy's mother, CJ, is coming to pick her up. The doorbell rings and Lucy is shocked and disgusted to find James, but we don't know why. CJ invites him in and confronts Lucy about it. Lucy discusses her mother with Lydia, her best friend from school. Lucy is worried about James and asks if Lydia's parents see her socially with anyone. Lucy has no hesitation in picking up the phone and calling Max for plans. Diana surprises Stephen at his house and they have a quickie in the car. In a vulnerable moment, Lucy opens up about her father. She tells Max he died when she was 15 due to a long illness. James, a guy he worked with, helped out with the house. One day, while she was alone with her father and CJ had gone out for an appointment, he started to crash. Lucy frantically called her mother, but she got the call only 3 hours later. She later learned that CJ was having an affair with James the whole time, but she doesn't know Lucy knows. When Max suggests that Lucy might be depressed dealing with so much emotional baggage, she gets defensive. They have a fight. Max says that Lucy is nice enough, but not mature enough. Diana and Stephen are both smoking pot and Wrigley's name comes up. In her high, Diana admits to sleeping casually with Wrigley during the welcome week when she was drunk. Stephen is visibly upset with her, and we do not where it is going. Lucy wanders into Macy's room at her house and notices a picture of the fake plant that Stephen drew for him on their first date. We know Lucy's new roommate, Charlie. Stephen waits outside Lucy's dorm, and she finally confronts him about Macy. She presses him hard for answers, almost frantically nitpicking at the details. Stephen divulges the incident with Drew, but also insinuates that Macy and he went together to the party the night she died. He was in the car with her when Drew's car came out of nowhere, and he just ran, not helping them. Stephen had cocaine on him and was drunk. He was scared he will get into trouble and hence ran from the scene. Lucy falls for it and embraces him. Diana confronts Stephen at the party, and he decisively breaks up with her. She is stunned and heartbroken, but this time it seems like Stephen has chosen. It is Evan's birthday and Drew has also accompanied them, probably dragged across town by Wrigley, and Lucy is unhappy. Ever since she has known about the incident, all she has wanted to do is go to the police. In the morning, Bree finds Evan in the woods, where he fell asleep after storming out. The two bond over their angst against their friends, and Bree tells Evan how much she likes him. They have sex shortly after in the master bedroom as the group packs to leave. There is a very subtle hint that Pippa might be interested in Charlie romantically. A drunk Pippa goes to Charlie once again, where the newcomer confronts her about the difference in personality. They then make out but Charlie and get intimate. Pippa embarrassed herself by feigning an orgasm, and Charlie gets serious about it. Pippa then gets teary-eyed and opens up to Charlie about her life. Everything her friends know about Pippa is a lie, and she is too embarrassed to admit it. Stephen gets a ridiculous call from his mother. She found out that Stephen helped Sadie get into the boarding school and that he got their father to sign the papers. She cuts him off the housing plan for the summer, forcing Stephen to choose between an unpaid internship or looking for a job to make ends meet. Lucy writes an anonymous chit to the dean saying he should question Drew and Wrigley about Macy. Someone from the dean's office knocks on Drew's door with a police officer. At a party, Drew storms in drunk and confronts Wrigley about the letter. They all are involved in the ensuing verbal fight, which ends up in Wrigley falling over the edge and hurting his knee. He blames Pippa for everything, but she does not out Lucy to him. In a flashback with Macy setting up her room on the first day of college, she sees Stephen standing under the door frame, and the two have a quickie just before Lucy arrives. Before leaving, Stephen makes it clear that they are only casually hooking up, and he has no interest in dating her. He gives her that drawing of the fake leaf as a gesture. She is alone at the party and phones Stephen to come over. But he is only interested in hooking up with her. This further upsets Macy, and he decides to go back to his dorm. They take Macy's car. Stephen and Macy both admit that they are perhaps too drunk to handle the car, but Stephen insists they go on. Macy confronts him about not being honest with her about not wanting to date her, irrespective of their agreement. Stephen takes offense, and inadvertently the accident happens. He leaves her for dead and puts her in the driver's seat to make it look like an accident. Before the Hawaiian party, the last one for the season, Evan informs Stephen that he will be moving out in the next semester. He wants a change and feels that Wrigley and Stephen will make for better roommates. At the party, Stephen and Lucy separate, as the latter goes to Pippa and the former smokes pot with Evan. Diana soon comes into the room, and one by one, all of them leave, except Diana and Stephen. She confronts him by asking what is he doing with his future. In a very delicate, poised, and convincing manner, she maneuvers him to come back with her. Her manipulation is indeed very intangible, as she makes the entire conversation about Stephen's future and that Lucy is not good for him. We see Stephen and Diana descend the staircase holding hands. They both look at a crying Lucy and a surprised Evan behind her and leave the party. Lucy and Evan get drunk that night and wake up in the same bed the next morning. We switch to the present day, where he picks up from the ending of episode 1. Lucy drinks wine alone and sees Stephen wave at her. He now has a fiancée and waits for her to come over. In another shocker, it is not Diana or anyone else but Lydia, Lucy's best friend Lydia, on whom she leaned for support and emotional calm. How on earth did this happen? Thanks for watching this recap. Hope you enjoy the new season.